Thank you, Curtis. Thank you all, and thank you SSSUK for your support in Sudan. I'm going to give you an overview of the state of higher education in Sudan post-1989. Actually, I'm arguing, as Fergus pointed, the de-education of the whole of Sudan. What I'm trying to do first is to look into the state of higher education prior to 30th of June 1989, and then look into the state of education post 1989 and after the regime collapsed. And I'm going to use various incidents and events outside this period, as it is synonymous with the vision and the ideology of the regime, and it is the ideology of the regime, in particular the Muslim Brothers. They have a role in this event. So it's going to be on the slides, going to be things that is not within the period, but it adds to the climate. And basically, I'm going to draw or paint a picture of the climate within which the higher education policies and developments, which the regime dubbed I think the higher education revolution. So we look together, what is the situation of Sudan prior to, if we got the map, I think we'll give people an idea and then we'll come back to that. So Sudan prior to 30th of June 1989 is 33 years old since its independence. Of that period, I think only 11 years it's a democracy. It was a democracy. So Sudan on the 30th of June 1989 was a parliamentary democracy, maybe struggling with issues of democracy. It's new for Sudan. It's only 11 years. Even the whole Sudan, the map disappeared, but you've seen it. But the whole of Sudan, with its boundaries, as we know it now, it's a young country in terms of dealing with its issues and its problems. So, is it this one? No. So if we see Sudan as well, prior to 1989, is struggling with the disparity of the even resources in terms of the resources, in terms of share of powers in the different regions of Sudan, in the east, in the west, in the south. As well, Sudan is a multi-ethnic group. There is various groups, as we all know. There is the Arab Muslims, there is the South, mainly maybe Christian, and some are animists, some has no religion. So it's a multi-ethnic, multi-groups within Sudan. But there is a problem of a dominance of a particular group, which is the Muslim Arab Sudanese, and that created a problem. So, but within all of that, Sudan is still a united country. It's got had a parliamentary democracy with its own issues. Considering what is happening in Britain now, you can imagine the troubles we had there. It's a different type of trouble. But despite all that, Sudan has a liberal form of education, that is modeled in the best of what the British system offered. It is modeled on public education in this country, and we were proud of it, and the British were proud of it as well. Sorry. So that is Sudan prior to 30th of June. Was united, it's got democracy, it's got problems. Then, sorry. Okay. we had as well, beside we have a liberal form of education, we have an independent judiciary, which is something so important. So that is all the problems we had, or that is Sudan. And then came 1989. Then everything changed. In 30th of June 1989, a military Islamic fundamentalist group came to power that nobody in the region ever imagined, or nobody in Sudan ever imagined, that one day the group of the Muslim Brothers, as we knew them during my period at the university in the 1960s, we never thought they will ever be ruling in Sudan. But actually it happened on the 30th of June. So what happened in this period, what I'm trying the point I'm trying to give is the climate that is created within that period, excluding and eradicating. They waged a campaign of terror especially during the period where they had their higher education revolution or development. During that period, as we all know, it's the period of the ghost houses, campaign of terror against the professionals, against university lecturers, against university students, against the trade unionists. That is one level. It's a huge, big campaign of terror that terrorized everybody. Also, we have the civil war in Sudan became a holy war. It became a holy war. I think I got some slides. There is some slides of that, but anyway, the civil war is transformed. It became a holy war. Young people were recruited for that. We will see on the slides the massive amount of campaigns they waged. They used the media-controlled radio, television, whatever they have. It's all about the holy war. It's about the rewards people will get if they go to the holy war. Either the young men were rewarded with when they come back, they were rewarded with merits, educational merits, offered degrees. It's been documented in that, and other divine rewards as well are included, because if a young martyr, if a man died, they will be offered 70 virgins in heaven and all that sort of thing. And another area of the campaign is thousands lost their jobs. Thousands, as we're going to see, in the civil service, any people who are active in politics, people as I mentioned earlier, at universities, trade unionists. It's massive number of people lost their jobs. The Islamic Penal Code, I think, it started in 1991, and then they developed the first time in Sudan. They developed and created. I don't know if people here remember the social engineering ministry. It's called social engineering, and this is exactly what they tried to do. They tried to transform and change the whole community into something else. And what they actually did, they did a submersion of the whole society into a pool of superstition and idiotic statements about this and that. And then we'll see on this one, down. Okay. As well, as I said earlier, I'm going to look at some dark history of the Muslim Brotherhood that's outside this period. As we all know, they have constructed an event where they accused a student in, I think, in Mahad al-Ma'alimin al-Ali, Institute of High Training. It's a teacher training institute. They accused the student of insulting or insulting the Prophet's wives, and they built a whole campaign around that, and it ended up the campaign in banning the dismantling or the Communist Party, and actually in Parliament there is about 15 communist or socialist members of Parliament. They voted to they send them out out of Parliament. However, because we have an independent judiciary, the Communist Party sued the government and they won. But obviously, and they played a main part on that. They are also behind the hanging of a 76-year-old man who was really approaching the end of his natural life, and he was an Islamic thinker for the only Islamic thinker we have in Sudan. They managed to put him on court by apostasy, and actually they hanged him. So they are behind that, and I think this is a very dark, and there is many examples of their dark history. Anyway,